Hi, everyone. Welcome to my behavioral neuroscience course. You can call me Dr. Olson, Dr. O, Eric, or really whatever makes you feel most comfortable. I have done research related to behavioral neuroscience for approximately 20 years. Most of my work focuses on the role that dopamine release events play in motivated behavior. Today, I want to walk you through what this class is about, how it's structured, and what I expect you to get out of it. At its core, this course is about how the brain produces behavior. We'll start by building a solid foundation in brain structure and function, how neurons communicate, how circuits are organized, and how different brain systems support things like movement, emotion, motivation, learning, and memory. Some of this will be a review of 2220. But we'll get through that quickly and get on to bigger picture thought-provoking things that really are at the edge of what we know in the field of behavioral neuroscience. So from there, we'll apply this sort of fundamental knowledge to understand what happens when those systems don't function typically, including what we observe in neurological and psychiatric disorders. But we are going to go much further beyond description in this course. Again, even there with a lot of the applied concepts, you get that in 2222 or biological basis of behavior. Thus, a major goal of mine in this upper division course is to push you to think deeply about behavioral neuroscience, some of the even philosophical and ethical implications of it. For example, if the brain causes all behavior and your perception of the world, what does that mean for ideas like responsibility, free will, punishment, treatment, identity, and your perception of reality itself? These questions don't have easy answers, and wrestling with them is going to be a central part of this class. We're going to be at the sort of the fringe of knowledge here in this behavioral neuroscience class. We will focus a lot on skill development as well, including writing, civil discourse, and the effective use of artificial intelligence. In terms of format, this is a fully asynchronous online course. This means that you will never be required to be online at the same time as your classmates or me. Instead, the course is organized into 8 modules. Each module follows a predictable rhythm so you can plan your time effectively. Everything is designed to maximize flexibility, choice, and equity. All course materials I have made freely available to you, and the structure is intentionally built to accommodate different schedules, learning styles, and life circumstances. For each module, you'll engage with lecture material that I've created, either PowerPoint-based lectures or short YouTube videos. At the end of each module, you'll complete a quiz that tests your understanding of the material. The quizzes are time limited but designed to assess comprehension rather than to trick you. In addition to my lectures and corresponding readings, I've included research articles that you'll be responsible for as well, but you'll also be reading 2 major books written by influential figures in the field of behavioral neuroscience. The first is Eric Kandel's The Disordered Mind. Kandel is one of the most important neuroscientists of our time, and will use his book to help anchor our understanding of how alterations in the brain relate to disordered behavior. He has won a Nobel Prize and is widely considered as the face of modern neuroscience. For each module, you'll read 1 or 2 chapters from his most recent book and complete an open book study guide before taking the quiz. That study guide is meant to help you organize your thinking. It's not busy work. The study guides and quizzes will primarily focus on my book, both my lectures, in addition to Kandel's book material. The second book you'll read is Robert Sapolsky's book, Determined. Sapolsky takes a very provocative and often controversial stance in this book related to human behavior and free will. His work will serve as the basis for our deep thinking discussions. Every other week, you'll write a 200 to 250 word discussion post responding to a prompt inspired by Sapolsky's arguments. I want you to think critically here. I don't care if you agree with him, disagree with him, or at times do both. But I do want you to always support your position with reasoning. I want you to emphasize again that his takes will seem provocative to you at times, and I welcome you to challenge them. The goal here is not to convince you that he is right, but to get you thinking about some of the most controversial concepts in neuroscience. For example, what is the brain does the brain determine all of your actions? Does the brain determine your identity? Does the brain determine your conception of reality? And if so, what are the implications? You'll also be expected to engage with your peers by commenting on each other's discussions posts. Each module, you should respond to at least 3 of your classmates. In addition to quizzes and discussions, there is a major writing assignment that develops across the semester. You'll write an essay on a topic of your choice from either Kandel's or Sapolsky's book that genuinely interests you. If you're more interested in biomedicine, you might prefer Kandel. If you're more interested in philosophy, you might prefer Sapolsky. Importantly, this essay is scaffolded. You'll start by submitting an outline to me that I'll give you feedback on. Then you will prepare an annotated bibliography, an AI generated podcast that is associated with references that you have researched. You'll then develop a ChatGPT generated draft of an essay and create a reflection on its strengths and weaknesses. Then, using all of that as sort of your preparatory research, you will create write your final original essay and submit that. The goal here, especially with AI, is not to replace your thinking at all, but to teach you how to use AI responsibly and critically as a research and writing tool, much like you would use a calculator in math without confusing it for understanding. I've developed a website to guide you through this process, especially regarding the podcast component. Of note, I've been to several AI conferences and have even submitted a paper on AI. I personally use SciSpace and Consensus in my own writing. In addition, I use ChatGPT, Gemini, and Google Notebook in research and in various daily functions. I think that these are, effective tools that can be harnessed to make us more efficient. You know, there are also many other outside of the box ways you can apply this, including interview prep, that I highly recommend you explore. I'll share more specifics about my experiences with the AI and some tools that I use myself later in the semester. In terms of expectations more generally about the course, this class is very interactive. I embrace the community of practice model and reject the sage on the stage format I used to practice when I first began teaching. The best thing about CU Denver is the diverse student body. Many of you come from different backgrounds, cultures, and have different lived experiences. We can learn much more about behavioral neuroscience as a community. I don't want you to just regurgitate my lectures to me or, just tell me what Sapolsky thinks. I want you to consider my presence and perspective, Kandel and Sapolsky's cognitive presences, those of other additional resources that I'll give you from experts that I've curated. I want you to think of your peers' presences and perspectives, and importantly, make your own presence be impactful in the learning process. I want to hear your authentic opinions. If you strongly disagree with Sapolsky or even me, I want to hear it. It is not going to negatively impact your grade at all. Especially the critical thinking discussions. I'm not looking for a point of view. I'm looking for critical thinking. Participation matters. You should plan to spend about 9 to 12 hours per week on this course. That includes watching the lectures, doing the readings, completing study guides, participating in discussions, taking quizzes, and working on your essays. I understand that reading 2 books is a lot. This is why there are 8 modules, and you have quite a bit of time over each 2 week module period to complete all of the readings, view my lectures, and participate. You're expected to complete all quizzes in this class, submit all discussion posts, and engage respectfully with your peers. Please review the discussion norms in the syllabus before engaging in civil discourse. Know that I do intentionally build in flexibility. I understand that life happens, and if something comes up, I encourage you to communicate with me. I trust students, and I try to handle exceptions fairly and with humanity. I am not going to question or judge you. You just need to tell me that you need some flexibility, and I am not going to ask you for notes from the doctors, judges, or bosses. I have guided students through countless issues, including military deployments, housing issues, medical issues, court related issues, family issues. I really am to the point that I don't really need to know the specifics or get notes. Know that I trust you and I'm here to support your learning experience. I only want you to learn the fundamentals of neuroscience that are necessary to thrive at the next level and to critically consider neuroscience from the most, where we are really at the leading edge of the most controversial topics as well and the social implications of them. I'm very accessible. You can email me, request a Zoom meeting, or post questions in the virtual office. I always intend to respond within 48 hours, usually sooner. If you don't hear from me within 48 hours, assume that I messed up. And, sometimes the email slips through the cracks. I get lots of emails every day. And you have my permission to give me a stern email pointing out that you have not yet received a response. I am also deeply committed to accessibility and inclusive course design. If you anticipate any barriers to learning in this class, please reach out so we can address them together. I have studied universal design principles extensively and applied them to every assignment in this course, ensuring that there are few barriers for anyone. In fact, I think that it's to the point that really, even with your when there are accommodations requests, there's very little to a change because I think almost every assignment is already maximally accommodating for all students. This course does engage with sensitive topics, including addiction, mental illness, trauma, gender identity, and social inequities. These topics are included thoughtfully and with purpose. If something becomes personally challenging to you, please reach out. I will work with you to find an alternative path to full credit if a particular topic is too challenging or too traumatizing for you to participate with or engage with. By the end of this course, you should be able to explain how the nervous system supports behavior, describe how disruptions in brain function lead to maladaptive behaviors, think critically about claims in neuroscience, and communicate those ideas clearly in writing and through civil discourse. If you stay on schedule, engage authentically with the material, and lean into uncomfortable questions, I think you'll find this course challenging, but also engaging and genuinely rewarding. Welcome to the class. I look forward to learning together as a community.